This Day in History, based on The Dramatic Decade by Pranab Mukherjee. June 1975. A harsh summer evening in Lutyens, Delhi. Siddhartha Shankar Rai, the Chief Minister of West Bengal, arrived following urgent summons from the Prime Minister. At the meeting, Mrs. Gandhi read out to him intelligence reports of Jayaprakash Narayan's public meeting scheduled for that evening. The reports indicated that he would call upon a parallel administration network as well as courts and appeal to policemen and those in the armed forces to disobey what was supposed to be illegal orders. Indira Gandhi was firm in the understanding that India was drifting towards chaos and anarchy. Ray, a legal luminary, advised Gandhi that if she so desired, she could consider Article 352 of the Constitution for the purpose. The two of them then left for Rashtrapati Bhavan to brief the President of India on the emerging situation. A few minutes before midnight on 25th June 1975, the President of India, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, proclaimed a state of emergency under Article 352 of the Constitution.
Cabinet and informed her about this. And Cabinet approved wholly without any objection. Nobody objected. She pointed out everything, threadbare, as to why this was necessary. So this is how it happened.
At 8 o'clock the next morning, after a hurriedly convened cabinet meeting, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi addressed the nation.
राष्ट्रपति जी ने आपातकाल की घोषणा की है। इससे आतंकित होने का कोई कारण नहीं है। The President has proclaimed emergency. This is nothing to panic about.
The years and months leading up to the emergency had been harsh for India. The Bangladesh War of 1971 had a serious impact on India's economy, and the oil crisis of 1973 added to its troubles. India's foreign aid climate deteriorated significantly, prices soared, smuggling and profiteering created an environment of frustration and restlessness. Industrial unrest increased and culminated in the railway strike of 1974. In this climate of uncertainty, allegations of corruption were brought against some leading government functionaries, members of parliament and state assemblies. The united opposition, led by the Gandhian leader Jayaprakash Narayan, launched the Bhrashtachar Hatao movement and called for total revolution. Intimidation, coercion, strikes, bands and gheraos became rampant. Elected state governments in Bihar and Gujarat were forced out of office. And this is when the Allahabad High Court delivered its judgment filed by Raj Narayan, a socialist leader challenging the validity of Indira Gandhi's election in 1971 from the Raebareli constituency. The High Court held Indira Gandhi guilty of malpractice on 2 counts: taking assistance of government officials to construct rostrums and supply power for loudspeakers at 2 election rallies, taking assistance of Yashpal Kapoor, a government official, for furthering her election prospects. The court, however, acquitted her of the additional charges. She did not exceed the prescribed limit for election expense. She did not bribe voters with gifts and free conveyance. Her use of IAF aircraft during travels did not constitute electoral malpractice. A Western newspaper commented that the judgment was too severe, akin to giving out a death sentence to someone for violating traffic rules. Following an appeal, the High Court did grant an absolute stay for 20 days. Indira Gandhi did appeal to the Supreme Court, which, in its final judgment on November 7, 1975, acquitted the Prime Minister of all charges. However, the opposition was determined not to lose this opportunity. Battle lines were drawn and both sides geared up. On June 25, 1975, JP addressed a massive rally at Ramlila Maidan, Delhi, at which he announced a program of civil disobedience. He repeated his exhortation to the police and the army to disobey illegal orders, challenging Indira Gandhi to bring charges against him if she thought that he was preaching treason. He asked students to walk out of classrooms and walk into jails. He urged Justice A. N. Roy, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, not to hear Indira Gandhi's appeal in the division bench. He thundered, "There can't be a Mujib in India." Following the midnight proclamation, though, thousands of opposition leaders and workers, including JP himself, Morarji Desai, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and Lal Krishna Advani, were arrested.
In fact, the cold facts of the emergency are truly chilling. 34,988 people were arrested under the Maintenance of Internal Security Act, 75,818 under the Defence of India rules. Practically the entire opposition was jailed. Yourself, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Chandrasekhar, Jayaprakash Narayan, Morarji Desai. The press was censored. The constitution was brutally amended, and even the judiciary came to accept that the right to life no longer existed. What were those 21 months like?
They were horrible in this sense that, for example, myself, my leader Vajpayee, and several others, we were in members of parliament who went to Bangalore for a parliamentary committee meeting. And we were told that you are to stay in this hostel and you are not to go here and there.
And on the 26th morning, you were arrested.
I was arrested.
Why then was it necessary to imprison Mr. Morarji Desai, who then became Prime Minister of India? Was he an economic threat to the state?
No, these were the people who were destroying democracy.
Destroying democracy?
Destroying democracy.
How?
Because, well, I'm sorry that you people have such short memories, but because they felt they could not win an election, they said we must take the battle to the streets. Mr. Morarji Desai is on record in an interview having said, we are going to surround the Prime Minister's house, we are going to surround Parliament, we will see that no business is done. That the Prime Minister cannot come out, nobody can go in. Another member of the opposition, now a minister, said that if we cannot win by the ballot, we shall win by the bullet. Somebody else incited the police and the army.
During the 21 months of emergency, political activity was curbed, the press was censored, and a slew of legislation, including the 42nd Amendment of the Constitution, was passed. In parallel, under the active inspiration of the stormtroopers of the emergency, Sanjay Gandhi, Kamal Nath, Bansilal, V.C. Shukla, socially repressive measures, including forced sterilization of men and dismantling of shanties in Delhi, were undertaken.
I said what surprises me and what distresses me is that those who have imposed such a drastic emergency on the country do not seem to have any sense of guilt for that. It is this that distresses me.
You accept no responsibility at all?
I have accepted all responsibility because I happen to be head of the government.
The Prime Minister invoked the slogan of Nation on the Move and made regular broadcasts to the nation, emphasizing the need for people-oriented economic reforms.
I'm going to speak to you today about some economic programs which the government proposes to follow. Some of them are new. Others were set forth earlier, but require to be pursued with greater vigor and determination. Please do not expect magic remedies and dramatic results. There is only one magic which can remove poverty, and that is hard work sustained by clear vision, iron will, and the strictest discipline.
pragmatic as always in her decision-making, Indira Gandhi announced elections on 18th January 1977.
Four non-communist parties merged with the
The
Janata
landmark
Party under the
elections
ascetic
saw
Moraji
a
Desai,
complete rout
though
of the
JP
Congress
remained its
government
lodestar.
and a personal defeat of
2
Indira
months
Gandhi
later,
at her
in
own
a stunning
parliamentary
election
seat.
outcome, Mrs. Gandhi was swept out of power.
Well, she got a terrible drubbing from no one less than a buffoon, I think Rajnarayan. And Sanjay lost too. And I came to see them when she was now in a different house and very woebegone, looked very sad.
For the first time in the
Moraji
history of
Desai, heading
independent
a
India,
motley collection
a
of opposition
non-Congress
parties,
government
was sworn
led by
in as
Moraji
Prime Minister.
Desai
The
assumed
Janata
power
Party,
at the
already
centre.
riven by dissension, took yet another vow at Rajghat, the Samadhi of Mahatma Gandhi.
The next 3 years saw Indira Gandhi retreat into a shell, re-emerge in the political arena, go to jail twice, split the Congress party, watch the fall of 2 squabbling governments at the centre, and reclaim the political agenda of India once more. In the mid-term elections held to Parliament in January 1980, the Congress, Indira, emerged supreme, winning 352 out of the 540 seats in the lower house of Parliament. On 17th January 1980, Indira Gandhi was sworn in as Prime Minister of India yet again. She held that position for the last 5 years of her life. Narrative based on Sri Pranab Mukherjee's The Dramatic Decade.